I leaned back slowly, the pieces fitting together in a way I couldn't ignore anymore. This wasn't spontaneous. It wasn't accidental. It had been planned. Maybe I should have waited. Maybe I should have confronted her calmly when she came home and listened to whatever explanation she had prepared. But in 4 hours, she was going to walk through the front door smiling like nothing had happened. She was going to hug me, tell me how much she missed me, and show me photos from her girls' trip. She was going to lie. And I realized I couldn't sit there and pretend not to know. So I made a decision. I opened my contacts list and scrolled down to Richard. Richard Palmer, Kelsey's father, 62 years old, retired Marine, the kind of man who still woke up early every morning to do push-ups and drink black coffee while reading the news. He had walked Kelsey down the aisle at our wedding and shook my hand afterward. "You heard her vows," he told me. "Now you answer to me." Not a threat, a promise. I had respected him ever since. Now I was about to find out exactly how serious that promise was. I attached the 4 photos, the reflection shot, the beach picture with the man, the dinner table with 4 glasses, the poolside bag with the watch. Then I typed one sentence. "I think you should see these before she lands." My thumb hovered above the send button. Once I pressed it, there would be no undoing it. Richard would know the truth, and whatever happened next would no longer be in my control. I thought about Kelsey, the woman I had married, the person I believed I would spend the rest of my life with, the same woman who was currently in a hotel room with another man. My wife stepped through the front door, scratching at her neck like she had just rolled around in poison ivy. "We seriously need to switch detergents," she said without even glancing in my direction. "Whatever cheap brand you bought is giving me some kind of reaction." I looked up from my laptop. "I bought the exact same brand we've been using for the last 3 years." "Well, something is different," she said irritably. She tugged her collar down to show me the skin across her collarbone. "Look at this. It keeps spreading." She wasn't exaggerating. The rash looked angry and irritated, raised red patches running across her collarbone and disappearing under the neckline of her shirt. "Maybe you should go see a doctor?" I suggested. "It's just contact dermatitis," she snapped quickly. "I'll grab some cream from the pharmacy." But 3 days later, the rash had gotten worse instead of better. It had spread down her arms and across her chest in scattered patches. Eventually, she gave in and agreed to see a dermatologist. I drove her to the appointment and waited in the lobby while she went back to see the doctor. About 45 minutes later, she came back out. Her face was pale and her eyes looked red, like she had either been crying or holding back tears. "What did they say?" I asked. "Allergic reaction," she said quietly. "They wrote me a prescription." She wouldn't look at me while she said it. That night, I was cleaning out her purse trying to find the insurance card when I noticed the dermatologist's report folded up at the bottom. I opened it. The diagnosis wasn't contact dermatitis. It was something you only get one way, and it definitely wasn't caused by our laundry detergent. If you want to know what that report actually said and what I decided to do with that information, hit subscribe, because what happened next didn't just destroy our marriage, it also ended someone's career. My name is Nathan Cross. I'm 39 years old, and I live in Austin, Texas. I work as a software engineer. Most days I work from home, sitting in my office writing code and attending meetings on Zoom. It's a stable job with good pay. From the outside, it probably looks like a boring life, but from the inside, it feels comfortable and predictable. My wife Lauren works as a real estate agent. She's the complete opposite of me. High energy, always moving, constantly juggling phone calls, showings, contracts, and clients. Where I prefer quiet routines, she thrives on busy schedules and constant interaction. We've been married for 8 years. No kids yet. She always said she wanted to wait until her career was fully established before we started a family. I believed her. I thought we were solid. Not perfect, of course. No marriage is. We had disagreements here and there. She often worked late, and I sometimes kept strange hours because of work deadlines. Some weeks we would barely see each other for more than a few minutes at a time. But I trusted her, completely. That was my first mistake. Everything started on a Tuesday evening. I was in my home office trying to track down a bug in a piece of code when I heard the front door open around 7 o'clock. Lauren walked in, dropped her purse on the counter, kicked off her heels, and immediately started scratching the side of her neck. "You okay?" I called out from the office. "No," she answered as she walked toward me, still scratching. "Look at this." She stepped into the doorway and pulled down the collar of her blouse. Red marks covered the skin across her collarbone and ran up along the side of her neck, raised bumps that looked irritated and inflamed. "Whoa," I said, standing up. "What happened?" "I have no idea," replied she. "It started itching this afternoon during a showing. At first, I thought maybe it was the perfume I tested at lunch, but it keeps getting worse." She scratched again, wincing. "It's driving me insane." "Maybe take some Benadryl," I suggested. "It's not helping." I stepped closer to look at the rash. The bumps were clustered together, and the skin around them looked swollen. "Lauren, that actually looks pretty bad. You should probably get a doctor to check it out." "It's just some allergic reaction," she snapped quickly. "I'll grab some cream from the pharmacy." But 3 days later, the rash had gotten worse instead of better. It had spread down both arms and across her chest. By Wednesday night, it had even appeared on her stomach. She tried every cream we had in the house: calamine lotion, hydrocortisone, aloe vera. None of it helped. She started sleeping in the guest room because she couldn't stop scratching. Late at night, I could hear the faint sound of her nails scraping against her skin through the wall. Thursday morning, I walked into the bathroom and found her standing in front of the mirror, staring at herself. Her eyes were red, like she had either been crying or holding back tears. "This keeps getting worse," she said softly. "You need to see a dermatologist, today." For once, she didn't argue. She just nodded slowly. I called around and managed to find a dermatologist who could squeeze her in that afternoon, Dr. Sarah Chen. Her office was located downtown, and the reviews online were excellent. "I can go with you," I offered. "No," she said quickly. "It's just a rash, Nathan. I don't need you coming along." "I'm not trying to babysit you." "I know. I'll be fine." She left for the appointment around 2 in the afternoon. I went back to work, but couldn't focus on anything. Something about the whole situation felt strange. Not the rash itself. That was obviously real. It was her behavior around it.
The way she didn't want me coming to the appointment. The way she had seemed distracted and distant all week. I told myself I was probably just overthinking things. I wasn't. Lauren got home around 4:30. She walked straight past me in the living room, went into the bedroom, and closed the door behind her. I waited a few minutes before knocking. "Hey," I said, "what did the doctor say?" "Allergic reaction," she answered through the door. "They wrote me a prescription. I'm going to pick it up." "Want me to grab it for you?" "No, I need to get out of the house for a bit anyway." She left again and came back about an hour later with a small pharmacy bag. That night, she took the medication and went to bed early. When I tried to talk to her, she said she was exhausted and rolled over. The next morning, she was gone before I even woke up. There was a note on the kitchen counter: "Early showing, back late." That's when I started noticing the pattern. Over the next week, Lauren was almost never home. Early morning showings, late-night closings, client dinners, weekend open houses. Her schedule suddenly seemed packed every single day. When she was home, she usually stayed in another room on her phone with the door shut. The rash slowly started improving. The medication clearly helped. But at the same time, the emotional distance between us kept growing. One night, I finally asked her directly, "Are we okay?" She glanced up from her phone. "What do you mean?" "Us. Are we okay?" "Of course we are," she said. "Why wouldn't we be?" "You've just seemed distant lately." She sighed, like I was being unreasonable. "Nathan, I'm dealing with a painful rash while trying to keep my business running. Sorry if I'm not being attentive enough for you." The way she said it made me feel like I was the problem. "I'm just worried about you," I said quietly. "I'm fine." She went back to scrolling on her phone. I walked back to my office feeling like a guest in my own home. The following Tuesday, I was doing laundry when I noticed Lauren's purse sitting on the kitchen counter. Her wallet had fallen out and some receipts and folded papers had slipped onto the counter beside it. I wasn't snooping, I was just trying to tidy up. But when I picked up the papers to put them back, I saw the letterhead printed at the top. Dr. Sarah Chen, Dermatology. The page had been folded several times. I almost placed it back without reading it. Almost. But something made me open it. Maybe it was the way Lauren had been acting all week. Maybe it was simple curiosity. Maybe it was instinct. I unfolded the page. At the top, it listed the patient name, Lauren Cross. Below that was the visit date. Then the diagnosis written in clinical medical language. Dermatitis secondary to allergic reaction consistent with exposure to latex proteins. Pattern and distribution suggest intimate contact. I read the sentence twice. Latex proteins. Intimate contact. My mind tried to piece it together. Latex, like condoms. The rash wasn't from our detergent. It was from latex, from condoms. We didn't use condoms. We hadn't in years. Lauren had an IUD. I stood in my kitchen holding a piece of paper that was quietly rewriting my entire marriage. I didn't confront her immediately. I needed time to think and make sure I wasn't misunderstanding anything. I took a photo of the report with my phone, then carefully folded it back up and placed it exactly where I had found it inside her purse. Then I went to my office and started researching. Latex allergic rash, intimate contact. The results confirmed what I already suspected. Latex exposure during close physical contact can cause dermatitis reactions in people who develop sensitivity to it. The location of Lauren's rash, on her neck, chest, and arms, matched what doctors described as contact patterns from close physical encounters. My hands were shaking by the time I finished reading. I called the one person I trusted to give me honest advice, my brother Jake. Jake works as a lawyer, a divorce lawyer. "I need to talk to you," I said when he answered. "What's going on?" "Not over the phone. Can you meet me?" "Now?" "Now." We met at a coffee shop near his office. I showed him the photo of the medical report on my phone. He read it carefully, then looked up at me before reading it again. "Damn," he said quietly. "Yeah. You're absolutely sure you two don't use condoms?" "Positive. She has an IUD. We haven't used them since the first year we were married." Jake set the phone down on the table. "Nathan, I'm sorry. What do I do?" "First thing you do is not confront her yet. I have a medical report saying she had contact with latex." "It doesn't say how," he replied calmly. "She could claim it came from something else. Medical gloves at an appointment, a procedure, anything." "Come on, Jake." "I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying if you're going to blow up your marriage, you need solid proof." I hated that he was right. "So what do I do?" "You watch. You document everything. Don't let her know you suspect anything. And when you have enough evidence, then you come back to me." I went home that evening and acted normal. Just another quiet night. Lauren came home late and said she'd been at a closing. I asked how it went and she said fine. We ate leftover Thai food in front of the television. She scrolled through her phone while I pretended to pay attention to the show playing on screen. Everything looked normal. Everything felt like a lie.
Later that night, after she went to bed, I sat alone in my office, thinking about everything I had learned. I wasn't going to ignore the truth just because it made me uncomfortable. I was going to find out exactly what was happening. And once I knew the full story, I would decide what came next. The next morning, I did something I never thought I would ever do in my own marriage. I installed monitoring software on our shared computer. Not spyware, not illegal, just a program that logged activity, websites visited, emails sent, that kind of thing. Lauren used the computer sometimes to check her real estate listings and respond to clients. If there was something to find, it would be there. I felt sick doing it, like I was crossing a line. But the line had already been crossed. I was just trying to see where it led. It took 3 days. On Friday afternoon, I checked the logs. Most of it was normal. real estate sites, Zillow, MLS listings, but then I saw it. A Gmail account I didn't recognize. She'd logged in twice that week, both times while I was in a meeting. The email address, lcross.realty2@gmail.com. We had a shared email, and she had her work email through her brokerage. Why did she need a third account? I tried to access it, password protected obviously, but the monitoring software had captured some of the email subjects before she deleted them. Tonight, miss you. When can we meet again? My stomach dropped. I took screenshots, saved them to a secure folder. Then I called Jake. I found something. Jake looked at the screenshots in his office. This is good, he said. Not conclusive, but good. Good? I repeated. My wife has a secret email account where someone's sending her messages about meeting up. I know, I'm sorry. I mean, it's good for your case. My case? I said bitterly. I don't even know if I want a case. I just want to know the truth. Nathan, you already know the truth. You're just hoping you're wrong. He wasn't wrong. What's next? I asked. Next, you need to find out who she's talking to. How? Does she have location sharing turned on her phone? We used to. I don't know if she still does. Check. If she does, you can see where she's been. I pulled out my phone, opened Find My Friends. Lauren's location was still shared with me. I scrolled back through her location history. Most of it was normal. Her office, clients' houses, restaurants. But there was one address that came up over and over, an apartment complex in South Austin. She'd been there at least 6 times in the last 2 weeks, always in the evening, always for about 2 hours. What's that address? Jake asked. I pulled it up on Google Maps. Apartment complex, The Meridian. Jake wrote it down. I'll have someone check it out. Someone? I asked. A private investigator, friend of mine, discreet. I hesitated. This was really happening. I was hiring a PI to follow my wife. Do it, I said. The PI's name was Marcus. Former cop, now ran his own investigation firm. We met at his office. I showed him everything. The medical report, the emails, the location data. He didn't judge, didn't offer sympathy, just took notes. I'll follow her for a week, he said. Document where she goes, who she meets. If there's someone else, I'll find out who. How much? He quoted me a number. It was steep, but I didn't care. Do it. He started that Monday. By Wednesday, Marcus called. I've got something. We met at the same coffee shop where I had met Jake. Marcus slid a folder across the table. Inside were photos. Lauren's car parked at the Meridian, Lauren walking into the building, Lauren in the elevator with a man I didn't recognize. The man was tall, maybe mid-30s, wearing a suit. Who is he? I asked. His name is Ryan Holloway. He's a loan officer at First National Bank, lives in Unit 4C. I stared at the photo. How long? Based on the location data you gave me and what I've observed this week, I'd say at least 2 months, maybe longer. 2 months? I repeated numbly. Marcus pulled out another photo. This one was time-stamped from yesterday. Lauren and Ryan standing in the apartment complex parking lot, his hand on her lower back, her smiling up at him. They looked comfortable, familiar, like a couple. I felt something inside me crack. There's more, Marcus said quietly. He showed me another photo. Ryan's car, a silver Audi, parked outside our house. When was this? Last Thursday around 2 p.m. You were at work meeting downtown, according to your calendar. She'd brought him to our house while I was gone. I closed the folder. That's enough. You sure? I can keep? I'm sure. I paid him, took the folder, drove home in a daze. That night, Lauren came home late again. Sorry, she said, breezing past me. Closing ran long. I looked at her. Really looked at her. She was lying to my face, and she was good at it. How's the rash? I asked. She touched her neck absently. Better. Almost gone. That's good. She smiled, kissed my cheek. I'm going to take a shower. She walked down the hall, phone in hand, and closed the bathroom door. I sat on the couch, folder on my lap, and made a decision. Tomorrow, I'd call Jake. Tomorrow, this ended. Jake looked at the PI report and nodded slowly. This is everything we need. What happens now? Now, we file.
Adultery is still relevant in Texas, especially for property division and alimony. I don't want to drag this out. I just want it over. Understood. But Nathan, you need to be smart about this. Don't confront her yet. Let me draw up the papers and we'll serve her properly.
When? Give me 3 days. 3 days felt like 3 years. I went through the motions. Work, dinner, sleep. Lauren didn't notice anything was wrong. Or, if she did, she didn't care. On Friday, Jake called. Papers are ready. We'll serve her Monday morning. At the house, at her office, more professional, less chance of a scene. I agreed. That weekend was surreal. Lauren and I went to brunch, ran errands, watched a movie. She held my hand in the car. I looked at her and wondered how someone could lie so completely. Monday morning, Lauren left for work at 8 a.m. At 10 a.m., Jake texted me. Done. She's been served. My phone rang 20 minutes later. Lauren. Her name on the screen felt like a punch. I answered. Hello? What the Nathan? Her voice was shaking. Rage, not tears. You got the papers? You're divorcing me without even talking to me? There's nothing to talk about. Nothing to? Are you serious right now? I know about Ryan. Silence. Then, I don't know what you're talking about. Ryan Holloway, the Meridian Apartments, Unit 4C. More silence. Nathan, I have photos, Lauren. Dates, times. I know everything. Her breathing changed. You've been spying on me. You've been cheating on me. It's not what you think. Then what is it? She didn't answer. That's what I thought, I said. My lawyer will be in touch. I hung up. My hands were shaking, but I felt clear. For the first time in weeks, I felt like I could breathe. Lauren tried calling back. I didn't answer. She sent texts. I didn't read them. She came home that night. I wasn't there. I packed a bag and checked into a hotel. Jake advised me to stay away until things cooled down. Just let her process, he said. Let her lawyers see what we have. They'll realize fighting this is pointless. It took 2 weeks. Lauren's lawyer, some guy named Brad from a strip mall office, called Jake. They wanted to settle. We met in a conference room, neutral territory. Lauren looked smaller than I remembered, tired. Brad did most of the talking. My client is willing to agree to a division of assets. She keeps her car, her retirement account. You keep yours. The house gets sold. Proceeds split 50-50. And, Jake prompted. Brad shifted, and she requests that the evidence not be made public. The affair? Jake clarified. Yes. Jake looked at me. I nodded. My client agrees, with one condition, Jake said. Mrs. Cross signs a statement admitting to the affair, notarized for the record. Brad looked at Lauren. She looked at the table. Fine, she whispered. The divorce was finalized 60 days later. I got the house. She didn't want it. Too many memories. She got her car and her accounts. No alimony, no drama. Just done. 6 months later, I was sitting in my living room now, when I got a message on LinkedIn. Ryan Holloway. I stared at the name, debated blocking him. Instead, I opened it. Nathan, I know you have no reason to listen to me, but I wanted to say I'm sorry. What happened was wrong. I didn't know she was married until it was too late, and by then, I'm not making excuses. I just wanted you to know I'm sorry. I read it twice. Then I typed back. You didn't ruin my marriage. You just exposed what was already broken. No hard feelings. I hit send and closed the app, because it was true. Lauren didn't cheat because of Ryan. She cheated because she'd already checked out. The rash just made it visible. A year later, I met someone new. Her name is Claire. She's a teacher. Honest, kind, terrible at hiding her emotions. When she's happy, you know. When she's upset, you know. There's no guessing, no secret emails, no hidden rashes, just truth. We took it slow. I told her about Lauren, about the divorce, about the dermatologist's report that changed everything. She listened, didn't judge, just held my hand. I'm glad you found out, she said. You deserve better. I'm starting to believe that, I said. The house sold last month. Lauren and I split the proceeds. I bought a smaller place, a condo downtown. Fresh start. I don't think about her much anymore. Sometimes I wonder if she's still with Ryan, if they're happy.
Mostly, I just feel free. Because the truth is that rash wasn't the problem. It was the answer. The answer I'd been too afraid to ask for. And once I had it, everything else fell into place. If this story hit home, comment, "I found out." If you've ever ignored the signs, if you've ever trusted when you shouldn't have, if you've ever had the truth hit you like a freight train, this one's for you. Hit subscribe for more stories about the moment everything changes. Because sometimes the truth doesn't set you free, it just shows you the door, and you have to be brave enough to walk through.